Whether you believe in a higher power or not, there is no denying that miracles sometimes happen. It's as if some people are shielded by an unseen force or protected by angels, keeping them safe even in the most dangerous situations. From a terrible car accident with no casualties to a woman healed after being paralyzed, here are 15 real miracles caught on camera. Number 15. Miracle escape. Driver walks away unhurt from dramatic high-speed car crash. Overtaking a bus at high speed on a busy road is never a good idea, but for one driver in Russia, it almost turned deadly. In a heart-stopping moment, the driver of a black car attempted to pass a bus, only to lose control and crash head-on into a large white truck in the opposite lane. The truck was driving calmly when it collided with the speeding car, sending the black vehicle careening into the car behind, which had a dashcam recording the entire incident. The crash completely destroyed the driver's side of the black car. Miraculously, despite the horrific impact and the sheer force of the crash, the driver was not only alive but conscious. Thanks to pure luck or perhaps divine intervention, the roof of the car narrowly missed crushing his head. With the help of a passerby, the driver climbed out of the wreckage through the shattered windshield. The car was a total loss, but the driver, shockingly, walked away with barely a scratch. Number 14. Boy and grandma run over by car in Brazil. Warning: this video contains graphic images. A 5-year-old boy and his grandmother were shockingly run over by a car in Brazil, and the footage will leave you speechless. Little Pedro Nascimento and his grandmother, Vilma Teodoro, survived a horrific accident that seemed impossible to walk away from. They were on their way home from school, like every other day, when suddenly a Chevrolet lost control and smashed into a parked white Volkswagen. The Volkswagen then violently catapulted backward, mowing down both Vilma and Pedro in its path. Incredibly, by what can only be described as a miracle, neither of them suffered serious injuries. Watching the video, you'd never guess they could have survived after the car literally ran them over. Yet, you see Pedro immediately jump up, rushing to check on his grandmother, who, after a few tense seconds, moves her head and appears to be okay. Pedro later told reporters, "This was a miracle from God." Both were taken to the hospital to check for internal injuries, but Pedro was released the same day with only minor bumps and bruises. Vilma stayed overnight for observation, but both made a full recovery. Number 13. Incredible moment: young girl is run over by a car. In a terrifying accident in Indonesia, a young girl was riding her small motorized bike one afternoon when disaster struck. She accidentally drove into the path of an oncoming silver car. The car struck her hard, knocking her violently to the ground. With no time to react, the driver ran over the girl, the left tire rolling over her helpless body. Miraculously, just before the back tire could follow suit, the driver slammed on the brakes. The car stopped inches away from causing even more harm. Had the car's full weight crushed her a second time, it would have been catastrophic. But in an unbelievable twist, the little girl stood up almost immediately, seemingly unscathed and in shock, but with no visible injuries. A nearby scooter driver rushed to her aid, and the driver of the car, horrified by what had happened, jumped out to comfort the girl, who clung to her in fear. This miraculous survival was nothing short of extraordinary. Number 12. Little girl gets run over by 2 cars on a busy Chinese road. Every parent's worst fear came to life in China when a curious toddler, around 3 years old, ran straight into the middle of a busy street. In the blink of an eye, the little girl slipped away from her distracted mother and wandered into oncoming traffic. As cars whizzed by, she continued her innocent adventure, unaware of the dangers surrounding her. The road was a two-way street, with one side stopped at a red light, while the other had moving traffic. The girl weaved past cars and a scooter, but her luck quickly ran out when she crossed into the path of a moving vehicle. The car ran over her, but miraculously, the little girl ducked at the exact moment, just barely avoiding the wheels. Before anyone could react, a second car followed and passed over her as well, but incredibly, she survived once again. Her frantic mother rushed to her side in sheer terror, fearing the worst, but against all odds, the little girl was unharmed. Though clearly shaken by the ordeal, both mother and daughter were safe. Number 11. Security camera at hospital. In September 2012, 14-year-old Chelsea Benton became the focus of attention at a hospital, but not for reasons anyone expected. Chelsea had been born with severe disabilities, and doctors never believed she'd live to see her 15th birthday. That year, her condition worsened when she caught a serious case of pneumonia. As her health rapidly declined, her family and doctors made the heart-wrenching decision to take her off life support. Her loved ones gathered to say their final goodbyes. But then, something miraculous happened. About an hour after her life support was removed, Chelsea began to show signs of improvement. Doctors were baffled. They had no medical explanation for what was happening. Meanwhile, a hospital worker noticed something unusual on the security camera. The footage revealed a glowing, human-like figure with wings made of bright white light hovering near Chelsea's room. When the figure disappeared, Chelsea's health improved dramatically. Was it a coincidence, or was the glowing figure an angel answering her family's prayers? Some nurses even reported seeing a strange, bright light outside her door. Whatever the cause, Chelsea's recovery was nothing short of a miracle. Before we continue, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Now, it's time for the prime topic. Take a look at this intriguing picture. It appears to show a man walking on water. One of the most famous miracles performed by Jesus, as recorded in 3 of the 4 Gospels, is when he walked on water. It's a story that has been told for centuries, a symbol of divine power that continues to captivate minds even today. There have been occasional claims that others have replicated this miracle, but let's face it, no matter how far science advances, walking on water still defies the laws of physics. To date, there's no solid evidence that anyone has truly achieved this incredible feat. So, what do you think? Is this image genuine, or could it be an illusion or hoax? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below your opinion on what we just showed you. Number 10. Miracle baby falls from 2nd floor window. Call the Incredibles because we've found a baby who seems to be made of rubber. Meet Helena Beatrice Nascimento, a 14-month-old girl who had the most miraculous survival. One afternoon, while Helena was napping at her parents' apartment, she rolled out of bed. What her parents hadn't realized was that the bed was right next to a window, and there were no protective bars or safety measures in place. You can probably guess what happened next. As Helena slept, she tumbled out of the window, plummeting from the 2nd floor and landing face first on the pavement below. A nearby CCTV camera caught the entire horrifying moment. You'd think that no one could survive a fall like that without serious injuries, but incredibly, after just a few heart-stopping seconds, Helena lifted her head. She then pulled herself up from the ground as if nothing had happened. 2 shocked passers-by rushed over to help, and moments later, Helena's frantic mother appeared, scooping her up in her arms. Somehow, little Helena survived the fall without any serious injuries, defying all expectations. Number 9. Miracle caught on camera. On October 17, 2017, in Guangdong Province, China, an unbelievable miracle was caught on camera. A crane from a nearby construction site became detached and plummeted directly onto an Audi driving down a 2-way road in the middle of the day. The crane crashed into the car's windshield, completely crushing the front half of the vehicle as if it were made of paper. From the footage, it seemed impossible that anyone inside could have survived. But against all odds, just seconds later, the driver did something extraordinary. He opened the sunroof of the crushed Audi and climbed out. While clearly shaken, he appeared unharmed. A nearby driver quickly came to assist, and later paramedics determined that the man only fractured his right ankle. If the crane had fallen just a few centimeters to the left, the outcome could have been fatal. This man's miraculous survival seems nothing short of a guardian angel watching over him. Number 8. 2 passengers survive a severe car accident. Driving while tired can be as dangerous as driving under the influence. For 2 construction workers in southwest China, this nearly cost them their lives. After a long day on the job, they were heading home in a gray pickup truck. The driver, battling fatigue, dozed off for just a second, but that was all it took for disaster to strike. The truck violently tilted to the left and ended up riding on just two wheels for over 100 meters, sparks flying as the vehicle slid out of control. It eventually crashed hard into the tunnel walls, coming to a stop on its right side. Thankfully, this terrifying accident, captured by CCTV cameras, didn't end in tragedy. Both workers emerged from the vehicle with only minor cuts and bruises. Despite the severe crash, they were able to call for help. Police later confirmed that the accident was due to driver fatigue, a sobering reminder of the dangers of drowsy driving. Number 7. 4-year-old boy rescued from floodwaters. In Madhya Pradesh, India, 4-year-old Chiku found himself standing in the middle of the treacherous and rapidly rising waters of the Narmada River. Paralyzed by fear, the helpless boy stood crying as the current around him became more powerful by the second. His life was hanging by a thread, and nearby villagers knew they had only moments to act. Armed with bamboo sticks, they courageously approached the boy, but tragically, before they could reach him, the forceful waters swept Chiku away. His family watched in horror from the floodplain as he was dragged downstream. But in a miraculous turn of events, hope wasn't lost. A brave man among the villagers sprinted along the riverbank, timing his jump perfectly. He plunged into the river and pulled Chiku from the raging waters, saving his life. Though terrified, Chiku was miraculously unharmed. In a matter of moments, the bravery of one man turned a family's nightmare into a story of hope. Number 6. Child survives being run over by a car. A shocking accident unfolded in the town of Silvassa, near the Daman-Ganga River in western India, when a 4-year-old boy was run over by the front tire of a massive SUV. The vehicle was reversing out of an underground parking lot, and the driver failed to notice the small child sitting alone on the sidewalk. The terrifying moment was captured on a CCTV camera, showing the SUV reversing directly into the toddler, dragging him beneath the front left tire as it exited the parking lot. Miraculously, once the vehicle moved far enough away, the child began to stand up on his own. Incredibly, he sustained only minor injuries from the incident. This shocking event serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance when driving. Always check your surroundings, especially when reversing, and never allow distractions when caring for small children. Number 5. Miracle caught on trucker's dash cam. David Fredrickson, a professional truck driver, was traveling peacefully with his driving partner on an interstate in Biloxi, Mississippi, when they suddenly saw a car heading in the wrong direction. In horror, David watched as the vehicle crashed into another truck, resulting in a massive explosion. Fearing the worst, he envisioned the grim aftermath of the fiery crash. Despite the chaos, David felt compelled to help. He grabbed a fire extinguisher and rushed toward the scene, convinced there would be no survivors. To his astonishment, as he approached the car, he saw a tiny head pop out from the back seat window. It was a 1-year-old girl, and in the front seat, her grandmother was desperately trying to kick open the door. Time was of the essence. The car was engulfed in flames and could explode at any moment. David, a large man, managed to force the door open and swiftly pulled the baby to safety on the roadside. With the assistance of others, the grandmother was also rescued. Miraculously, everyone emerged from the terrifying incident unharmed. Number 4. Baby inside a car. This is a tragic story that took place one cold winter evening in Utah. 25-year-old Lynn Jennifer Grossbeck was driving home with her 18-month-old daughter, Lily, when she suddenly lost control of her red Dodge Caliber. The car flipped off the road, landing upside down in the freezing waters of the Spanish Fork River. It wasn't until the next morning that a fisherman spotted the vehicle and alerted the authorities. Sadly, it was too late for little Lily, who had been suspended in her car seat, upside down, for 14 long hours. Lynn had tragically died on impact that night. However, something extraordinary occurred when rescuers approached the car. As they got closer, they heard a woman's voice calling for help. This haunting voice prompted them to continue their approach, only to discover that Lynn was already gone, and Lily was unconscious. Was it the spirit of a devoted mother, desperately trying to save her child? Number 3. Girl survives being run over by a train. This harrowing CCTV footage captures a close call at the Kurla train station in Mumbai, India. A young girl attempted to cross the railway tracks while apparently distracted, possibly by a phone. As the massive train thundered down the tracks, she didn't seem to notice the impending danger. In the video, she can be seen running alongside the platform, seemingly panicked. At one point, she jumps aside but then steps back onto the tracks. As the train approaches at high speed, chaos ensues, bystanders scream in horror, unsure of how to react. Tragically, the girl turns to face the train, covering her face with her hands just before the impact. She is violently thrown beneath the train, which continues moving forward. The crowd erupts in panic, urging the conductor to stop. Remarkably, she was rushed to the hospital and, against all odds, sustained only minor injuries. This incident is a testament to the fragility of life and the unexpected nature of survival. Number 2. Truck loses control. Icy roads can be incredibly treacherous, but sometimes miracles do happen. On a cold day in November 2019, near Wayne City, Illinois, about 95 miles east of St. Louis, an alarming incident unfolded on Interstate 64. A box truck lost control, jackknifing and crashing into a roadside ditch. At that moment, for lives were hanging in the balance, 2 Illinois state troopers and an elderly married couple. The troopers were assisting the couple with a tire change on the shoulder when the chaos began. As the truck skidded toward them, the urgency was palpable. In a dramatic police-released video, you can hear the troopers shouting, "Watch out," just moments before one of them heroically pulled the woman out of harm's way. Miraculously, she regained consciousness later in the ditch, found beneath the massive truck. Thankfully, she only suffered a broken arm, while her husband and the 2 troopers emerged without a scratch. This incredible escape serves as a testament to quick thinking and the power of fate. Number 1. Woman healed after being paralyzed. One of the most well-known miracles is the sudden healing of a paralyzed person, and this is a true story. Delia Knox experienced a devastating car accident on a snowy Christmas day in 1987. She was in the car with her sister and brother-in-law when a drunk driver collided with them. Upon waking in the hospital, her world shattered when doctors informed her that she was paralyzed from the waist down. While many would fall into deep despair, Delia maintained a vibrant social life and attended gospel services every Sunday. Despite her challenges, she prayed fervently for a miracle, longing to regain her mobility. Then, after 22 years confined to a wheelchair, a transformative moment occurred. Delia and her husband were at church when Pastor Morris began praying for her. In that moment, she felt a sensation in her legs, something she thought impossible. As the pastor continued to pray and the congregation worshiped, Delia experienced an extraordinary breakthrough. In front of the entire congregation, she took her first steps on her own, a miraculous achievement after more than 2 decades. As you can see, miracles are real and can take many forms. Thanks to high-definition cameras, we can capture these moments on video. What about you? Have you ever witnessed a miracle? Share your story below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.